In Valle del Cauca, Colombia, police have arrested 32-year-old Brayan Campo for the brutal murder of Sofia Delgado.
This is the ultimate betrayal of trust. For years, the profile was spotless. Brayan Campo, a technologist, working, studying, engineering, running a simple, quiet business selling accessories for pets. He was the definition of an average, stable man. Until one day, the façade didn't just crack it, shattered, revealing something ancient and cold beneath. The victim, Sofía Delgado. The motive, none the world could comprehend. His confession, delivered with chill and calm, was 8 words that redefined terror. I felt like killing, and Sofía Delgado paid with her life. To understand the magnitude of this crime, you must first understand the normalcy it violated. In his own words, Campo's life was built to wife. Julie Rodas, an infant daughter, 2 dogs. He had structure, responsibility, ambition. Then there was Sofía Delgado, a life full of potential, and that connection was severed with a calculated, terrifying simplicity. The investigators looked for the common denominators: money, infidelity, revenge. They searched his finances, his communications, his history. They searched for the why, and that search was the first red flag. Because the crime didn't fit the man. The man was a shadow in the corner of a room, and the crime was a bomb blast in broad daylight. The sheer lack of an external trigger became the most terrifying clue of all. The violence wasn't reactive, it was primal. It was internal. The true horror begins when Campo opens his mouth. His testimony was not a frantic defense, but a meticulous, detached report on the moment the compulsion took hold. He confessed that the urge was not new, but on that day, it shifted from thought to imminent action. He specified the object used, detailing its simplicity and accessibility. This confirms the lack of planning for a specific victim, but not the lack of preparation for the act itself. I'd felt the urges for some time. I knew what I would use. It was just a matter of when I wanted to do it. He was prepared not for who he would kill, but for the event of killing. It was a tool waiting for a target. His actions preceding the crime were chillingly focused. He admitted to deliberately seeking out the victim's location, describing the area with a hunter's precision. I needed to be there. I knew the area was right for what I had to do. This speaks to a focused psychological need, not a random outburst. The choice was made. The compulsion had won. He confirmed that he waited for the precise moment of vulnerability, eliminating witnesses, isolating the victim. This was not chaos. It was a dark, clinical operation. The moment the door opened, the facade of Brayan Campo dissolved entirely, leaving only the executioner. Once inside, the process was swift and terrifying. Campo described the attack as immediate, decisive, and without warning. I had to do it immediately. I could not wait. The thought was too strong. He spoke of the act as a necessity, not a choice. The focus was on efficiency, not emotion. Investigators pressed him on the struggle. Campo's response was chillingly simple, confirming the clinical intent behind the method. She didn't fight much. It was fast. I made it fast. This one sentence seals the horror. The killer was focused on efficiency, on the quick, clean completion of his psychological obligation. He confirmed that the moment the act was complete, the violent thought vanished. His mind cleared. There was no panic, no remorse, only an urgent need to revert to the man he was supposed to be, the meticulous, responsible technologist. He looked upon the scene not with guilt, but with a detached, clinical eye toward problem-solving. The immediate aftermath speaks volumes about his psychological detachment. His primary concern was elimination of evidence and contamination. He detailed the specific steps he took to clean himself and the location. I was thorough. I did not want my crime to contaminate my home or my job. The crime scene was a breach of his personal hygiene, and he sought to scrub it away. He specified the disposal route and method with unsettling detail, demonstrating a clear, linear thought process that contradicted his claim of madness. I took the route with the fewest cameras. I knew the body needed to be far away before morning. This was not the work of a lunatic. It was the work of a meticulous accountant of murder. After disposal, he returned home, and immediately resumed the life he had so violently breached. I went home and continued my life. The work was done. I wanted to forget it, but I needed to protect my name. The sheer indifference to the life he had extinguished, and the intense focus on his reputation while dealing with the ultimate act of depravity, defines the profound narcissism of his psychological state. The initial investigation led nowhere, primarily because Campo was actively, meticulously trying to cover his tracks. His wall of composure was absolute, until it began to fail. He confessed, but his surrender was not one of remorse. It was one of self-diagnosis. He didn't say, "I regret the pain I caused." He said, "I was very sick psychologically." The statement, "Everything I did alone," was initially viewed as an attempt to shield his family, but it took on a darker meaning. It was his insistence that the sickness was contained, a personal, private cancer that he was now revealing to the world as his defense. The act was not planned, but the excuse was meticulously prepared, and here lies the chilling crux of the case. Campo did not attempt to plead innocence. He attempted to plead predetermination. His sole defense, his desperate anchor in a sea of guilt, was the story of his mother. He spoke about her critical mental health problems. Following an accident, he delivered his claim with disturbing clarity. "My mother suffers from mental problems. She is not normal. I believe I inherited that from her, because that was before I was born." This is where the terror truly begins. He's arguing that the violence wasn't his choice. It was genetic destiny, a dormant virus waiting for a random trigger, a convenient narrative of inherited chaos. The psychological profile painted a picture of a man highly concerned with control and appearance. Experts had to weigh the chilling account of the murder against the desperate claim of mental illness. The question persisted. Was he genuinely afflicted? Or was this defense the final, manipulative strategy of a man desperate to avoid the full weight of justice? The legal system had to look past the narrative of the damaged son and focus on the actions of the killer. He confessed to the intention and the execution. His moment of wanting to kill transcended thought and became tragic, irreversible reality for Sofía Delgado. The court had to weigh the cold, clinical nature of his testimony, the lack of remorse, the focus on reputation against the claim of predestination. Brayan Campo's story is a terrifying reminder that the masks we wear, husband, father, professional, can conceal an abyss, and sometimes the most dangerous people are those whose lives are the most perfectly contained. This case leaves us with a chilling question. VO conversational. If the brutal reality of this psychological battle impacted you, please take a second right now to hit the like button, And if you want to keep exploring the darkest corners of true crime with us, make sure you subscribe to Cruel Reality and hit that notification bell. Now, we turn it over to you. Considering the cold, calculated planning of the disposal versus the claim of inherited sickness, do you believe Brayan Campo's claim of inherited mental illness truly lessens his moral culpability? Or is it simply a calculated excuse for a heinous act? Let us know your thoughts and your judgments in the comments below. We are reading, e-rating.